In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to drive a train in Meio Railway, which is one of the best train games that Roblox has to offer. I'm going to be doing this tutorial in my VIP server, but you can obviously do this in any server that you'd like. Just go ahead and join one. Once you've loaded in, go ahead and click the play button and you'll be spawned in at a random station. To become a driver, click this button at the top left and then click on the first menu option. Once you do, you'll be teleported to a depot. And of course, I got teleported to the one depot where you can't spawn a train. So, to teleport to another depot or another station, go up to this button at the top left, and it'll open up a list of locations that you can teleport to. Since this is my favorite place to spawn a train, I'm going to click the teleport button, and here I am. To spawn your train, walk to the button that says Mayo on it and press E to open a list of trains that you can spawn. All of these trains have the exact same UI and can be driven in the exact same way, so try out a few and see which one's your favorite. I'm going to spawn in the 8733F for this tutorial. Just click the spawn button and it should spawn in. If this door isn't already open, you can click on the door handle to open it, and then walk out and see which track your train is on. As you can see, mine is spawned right here. To get to your train faster, you can click on this button with the person in the top left, and this will turn on the run mode. And here I am at my train. Click on the door handle to open the cab door. You may need to turn your avatar sideways to walk in. Now, for some reason, the doors in the cab have a cooldown on them that stops you from closing them. I don't know why. But if you press enter to interact with either of these spots inside of the cab, and then jump, you should be able to shut the door. Before you start driving your train, there are a few things you can do to make it look nicer. If you take a look at this rack of buttons above this seat, you'll notice that some of the buttons are lit up yellow. You can use this slider to zoom in if you need to. If you click these two yellow buttons on the left side of the screen, you'll notice that they turn on both the cabin lights and the cab lights. This button controls the air conditioning, and then this button on the right raises and lowers the pantograph located on top of the train. As you can see, here it is in its current state, but if I click this button, you'll notice that it raises up to touch the power line above the train. You can click any of these buttons again to toggle them off, or back on as needed. I'm going to leave them like this. You'll notice that there are more yellow and other colored buttons across the train, including these three on the front of the train. These mostly turn on lights on the outside of the train, so if you want to turn these on and see what they do, feel free to experiment. Here's the difference between the air conditioning off and the air conditioning on. And here's another thing that I literally discovered while recording this video. You can click on the top of these window shades. Actually, I guess I can't click this one. But you can click on the top of these window shades to close the windows facing into the cab. I literally did not know you could do this until just now. Very cool. Another thing you can do is click on this panel on the right side of the cab to open this menu. Now, some of the features in this menu you'll use while driving your train, but for now, click on this button at the top left corner of the menu, and you'll see this menu. Now, click the down arrows in this menu to set the type of train. As you can see, we've got all sorts of types. I'm going to set mine to local, and the destination of your train. I'm going to set mine to this station. Click the OK button to save your settings, and then you can click this button to exit out of the left side menu. If you need to reopen it, just click this again. Alright, I think it's finally time to start driving your train. When you're ready to drive, click on the seat to lower it, walk up to it, and then press enter to sit down and open the drive menu. Now, to shift gears is a little bit counterintuitive. You're going to press the F button to shift into reverse, or the R button to shift into forward. Once you've shifted into forward gear, click on the anchor button to unanchor your train. You can also click the button again to re-anchor your train, and this is useful when you're in stations and you want to allow people to enter. Keep in mind that when you click on the anchor button to unanchor your train and the anchor button is red, any players that are inside of your train will not be able to move. They'll be frozen in place. So so just keep that in mind. When you first enter the driver's seat, the emergency brake will automatically be applied. You can press the Q key to shift to neutral, which will unapply the emergency brake. Press the W key to apply the normal brake. There are 7 different brake levels. You can also press the E key to reapply the emergency brake. Applying the emergency brake is the only way to shift from forward to reverse or reverse to forward. But now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, press the S key to apply the throttle and start accelerating. And here we go. There are 4 different levels of acceleration, and you'll notice that there is a speed limit in this area, so watch what happens when I hit the speed limit. The brake is automatically applied, and it is unapplied when I hit the posted speed limit, or when I'm below it. We're coming up on a switch track here, so I'm going to stop the train. To switch the direction of a switch track, click on the button above the switch track. The way that the switch tracks work is if the switch tracks button is green, the track will go straight ahead from the point that it emerges from. But if the switch track is red, it will go sideways from the point that it emerges from. Since I'm coming from this side, I'm going to set the switch track to red and then keep going. As you can see, since I hit the speed limit, the brake was once again automatically applied. I believe that the switch tracks in this section of the track will automatically change. Let's see if that's true. Yep. The switch tracks will automatically change if you're approaching them. However, I do still recommend clicking on them if you're in a public server, because sometimes if multiple trains are coming along the track, it can be a little buggy. This is a double switch track. I'll explain how these work in a bit, but for now, just know that they need to all be green for you to be able to pass through straight ahead like this. Now I'm currently pulling into a dead end area where I need to turn around. You only need to do this when you're coming from the Shimoda depot. All of the other depots work fine and they don't need you to do this. I don't know why they had you do this with this one, but I mean, I guess it can't be helped. Let's stop the train. And now I'm going to anchor it, and I'm going to get out and sit on the seat on the other side of the train. I probably shouldn't have walked along the tracks to get to the other side, but it's fine, I'm in a VIP server. Anyway, when you get to the other side, everything will be reset to the default, so you'll need to shift back into forward gear and then return to neutral by pressing Q. Now, before I accelerate, I'm going to switch this dual switch track. To switch the dual switch track, click on the button in front of you. So, for example, I'm coming from this way, so I'm going to click on this button. There are 3 different modes that the switch track can go. This is the mode that I want because I'm crossing to the other side of this track. This is the absolute worst mode for me because it means that the track that I am on is disabled and I will derail if I pass through the track when it is like this. In this mode, you go straight ahead, and that was the mode that I used when I was crossing through before. I'm going to switch the switch track to this mode, unanchor my train, and then accelerate through. We're coming up on another dual switch track, and I'm also going to switch that one to the same setting as before, because I want to be on this side of the track. On the left side of the track, not this side. I don't want to be on this side of the track. And then this switch track, I'm just going to leave as is. You can switch it if you'd like. As you enter the station, you'll want to slow down by applying the brake. and slowly make your way to the end. Now, usually a real driver wouldn't use the emergency brake, but I seem to have overshot it a little bit even with the emergency brake. So I'm going to shift into reverse and back up so that my door, my second door, is aligned with the second exit pad on the floor. And here I am, perfectly aligned. So let's apply the emergency brake, anchor my train, shift to forward gear, and then return to neutral. Now I'm ready to let passengers onto my train. Now that I'm aligned with the station, I'm ready to open the doors to let passengers into my train. To open the door, find this button on the side of your train and click the bottom button on this little panel. Click the bottom button and the doors will open. You'll also notice that there is an identical panel on the opposite side of the train that opens the opposite side's doors. And you can click the top button to close the doors when you're ready to close them. But before you close the doors on the side that the passengers enter from, you'll need to play the departure music. To play the departure music, find this panel outside of your train on one of the walls of the station and click the on button or the black button on top of the panel. Once you've heard enough of the song, click the off button to shut it off. Then you can shut your doors. If for some reason the departure music isn't working, you can click on this panel and then click the close button to play a similar audio. It will not play if the doors are closed though, so I'm going to reopen the doors and then click on the close button. And then you can close your doors. You won't need to use this button often, but as of right now there is one station where you'll need to use it. Now that all the passengers have boarded my train and I've closed the doors, I can unanchor my train and apply the throttle to leave the station. This switch track is already set to the direction I want to go, so there's no need for me to change it. Generally, I like to go 60 miles an hour, so I'm going to shift to neutral here. And as you can see, I'm approaching a new speed limit of 80 miles per hour, which I won't hit because I'm only going 60. And now's probably a great time to talk about the graphics options that you can change while playing this game. If you click on the settings button, you can open this window where you can set the real graphic, which gives you slightly better graphics. I personally prefer it without the real graphic. And the real time, which sets the in-game time to some time. I don't know what time zone it's based off of, but it does set it to some time zone. And then you can also disable and re-enable shadows and depth of field. But you probably shouldn't drive your train distracted because I'm currently coming up on a station. So I'm going to apply the brake. And I'm going to do my best to align my second door with the second exit pad. You can align the first door, but generally your train will be a little lopsided if you try and do that. And as you can see, I've once again gone a bit too far, so I'm going to apply the emergency brake, shift into reverse, and back up just a tiny bit. Apply the brake one last time, apply the emergency brake, shift into forward, shift back into neutral, and then anchor your train. Now you're ready to open the doors. Another graphic setting you can change is with this clock button. This opens the time changer window. Now if you have real time enabled, you're going to want to turn it off before you use this, but you can use this window to set the time to any time that you'd like. I'm going to set it to 23 hours. And as you can see, this game also has a night mode, and it looks pretty nice at night. Forgot which menu I had open for a second there. So let's play the departure music. Make sure my cabin lights are on. Yep, they are. You'll notice that every station has its own unique departure music. So, take that as you will, I guess. Let's try driving our train in the middle of the night. Because of the way that Roblox's lighting systems work, it is a little buggy. And by a little, I mean very buggy. I mean, I feel like a train wouldn't be doing this. But, yeah, the farther away you go, the more laggy, the more buggy it gets. But if you're looking close, then it's fine. As you can see, we're going over a bridge. And now would be a good time to activate my headlights, but unfortunately I'm moving too fast to actually click the button. But I am approaching the next station. Let's apply the brakes. See if I can line it up this time. Almost got it. Almost. Did I go too far? Oh no, I didn't go too far. I actually went too little. Alright. A little bit farther. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Didn't even have to shift that time. And that, I believe, is all there is to know about driving a train in Meio Railway. If I missed something, if you have any questions, if you have any comments about how horribly I did something, feel free to let me know in the comments. And have fun playing Meio Railway. This is one of my favorite games, and I hope some other people will get to enjoy it too. Thank you for watching.